Welcome to the Vanilla to Vixen podcast. This show contains adult content, so if you are under 18 or easily offended, please switch off now. Mr. and Mrs. N are not qualified relationship counsellors. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Now the disclaimer is out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy our journey from Vanilla to Vixen.
Welcome to episode 112 of Vanilla to Vixen. We are your hosts, Mr. and Mrs. N, and we're also sometimes known as
the naughty couple.
Not so croaky today.
I'm back!
I cannot believe we're up to episode 112 already.
I know, and I need to put out a massive thank you for the gorgeous Mr. Foxy for stepping in for me last week.
He was very good.
He was very, very good.
Unfortunately, everybody now knows he's Jesse at the end of the show.
I know.
It's like finding out who Batman is. It's very disappointing that we've revealed. I think everyone knew anyway. It was
I think
Mr.
they
Foxy,
did. Yeah,
to be honest. But yes, that was very good. We've got a really special guest in the studio today.
We have. Super special.
Looking forward to it. I cannot believe the year is going past as quickly as it is.
I know.
We've got some amazing parties. We've got a V2V Christmas party this year.
I know. Aren't we lucky?
December the 21st, I think it is.
I think it is.
So we've got actually the Christmas party. I can't believe that. That's going to be like amazing.
It is going to be super. But before that one,
we've got Cluedo.
We have.
Who done it? V2V on the 5th of October.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a badass Colonel Mustard. I'm telling you now, I'm going as Colonel Mustard. I'm not even making it a surprise. I'm going to be a badass Colonel Mustard. But going back to the Christmas one, I can't decide what to do for the Christmas outfit.
Why?
I've got to do something unusual, haven't I, for the Christmas one.
Okay.
Talking of Christmas...
Smooth, baby. Really smooth.
Okay, you see. Do you know why the snowman always smiles?
No.
Because he can see the snowblower coming.
Our guest is sitting there chuckling, trying not to giggle.
Exactly. That's it. We don't have to mention the Christmas party anymore.
No, it's too early.
No, it is. That's it. But we have got Cluedo on the 5th of October.
Yes, we have.
We could talk a little bit about Vanilla to Vixen last week.
Do we want to?
Yes, it was a semi-success. Everybody had a great time, apart from Mrs. Bella, bless her, NJ, our brilliant photographer, and you.
I know.
Because you were dropping like flies.
We were, weren't we? Bless.
So
I didn't even get to see my own party.
Let's do it in chronological order.
Okay.
Okay, so Mrs. N went first.
Yeah,
she collapsed.
I did.
Literally collapsed at V2V.
Poor old Busty had to hold me up, bless her.
Because you got a cold and were croaking.
Yeah.
So you collapsed about 9:30.
I did.
Mrs. Bella, bless her, then made it till about 10:30. And our photographer, bless him, he made it all the way through.
I don't know how he did it.
But he looked really poorly.
Really poorly.
So, yeah, apart from that, it was a rip-roaring, raging success.
I know. I had to actually go and have a lie down in one of the rooms.
I know.
Which, in fairness, was actually quite nice, because they're nice rooms.
And then we've got our newest members of crew, H&N.
Yes.
Who came in to check on you, and they were just sitting like being Nurse Nightingale.
I know.
Stroking your head.
Yeah.
And I just walked in and went... This is V2V. It's shit, isn't it?
So I do apologise for anybody I didn't get to welcome. I tried to stay there as long as possible, but having kept going dizzy a couple of times and nearly hitting the floor, I thought it was best to remove myself.
And you were full of guilt. Not helped by me that walked in, and I can't remember what H&N said, but
you came in to see me and I went, I'm so sorry.
That's right.
And you said, so you should be, you've ruined it.
Ever the sympathetic, full of empathy.
Yeah, so thanks for that, darling.
You know it was good anyway. It was brilliant. It was a good party, and most people ate their own weight in cake.
Do you know what? The funny thing was, as always with you, Mr. N, you do tend to oversubscribe things occasionally, as people may know.
Yeah.
So we were thinking we may have gone a little bit overboard with all the sweet treats that were there.
Candy floss.
Yeah.
My favourite.
I know. There was nothing left.
I know. Apart from the world's filthiest cake.
Oh, it was just brilliant. Can we put photos on?
I will put a photo on Twitter X of the cake as soon as this episode goes out, and everyone can see what an amazing, talented staff we have at Liberty Elite, because one of the staff made it for us.
She did. Honestly, it's breathtakingly, ridiculously phenomenal.
It was an X-rated cake.
It was X-rated, yes. It's not for the young people.
The whole thing was a hot tub, and it got different scenes going on in there, shall we say. That's what it was. It was very good.
She got the brief.
Yes. Go on to Twitter, have a look.
Yes.
Now, we move on,
yes,
I think, to our beautiful guest today.
Who we actually met at Dangerous Curves, I believe, in the locker room.
It is Gemma. Hello, Gemma.
Hello.
Welcome to V2V, Vanilla to Vixen. And we usually always ask the same first question. So, how did you get into this monkey business?
So I got into the whole swinging lifestyle, I suppose, back in 2010, before I knew many of the other clubs. I hadn't really been on the scene at all.
You don't look old enough to have been doing naughty things in 2010.
Oh, I very much am. I went to a Chameleons Club back then. That was my first taste of anything to do with the scene. And I went there probably for 2 years, but only like every other month, and completely on my own. So we didn't know anyone.
So you were a unicorn.
Yeah, I went completely on my own, and then.
So how did you find out about the club? And
I found out about the club through a very, very old website, which I don't even know if it exists anymore. It's called Adult Friend Finder.
Oh!
And it's a really old one, though, and I was on it years ago.
I perused that thing.
I think we all have. And, yeah, someone mentioned it, and then I ended up there on a Saturday night, so...
That's incredibly brave.
Yeah, it was brave, or stupid. I don't know.
To just literally just like do a website and...
Yeah.
So you didn't know anybody in the scene?
And I'd only just turned 31, actually. So, yeah, I don't even know where it'd come from, because it'd never been on my mind to go. I'd never wondered about it. You know, always had very monogamous relationships. And that was it then. For about 2, maybe 3 years, aside from, you know, things obviously in my private life, I didn't go nearly as much as I wanted to. And then it all changed in 2014 when I met who became my wife, and got married in 2015. And then that was it until January 2023 when we got divorced.
Oh, bless you.
And yeah, we just didn't do anything like that at all. Our marriage was just not like that whatsoever. We didn't even entertain it. And then,
so you didn't meet in the lifestyle then? It was completely...
we just met online. I got married very, very quickly.
Do you think you always had something inside you that probably you just pushed down, quelled in your relationship? Or
always. Yeah,
I think the same. You see, my previous relationship was very vanilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know now how much it had been there and how much I'd ignored it over the years. I mean, there was no way it would have been entertained in my marriage, no way whatsoever. But I guess the catalyst was last year. Obviously, when we split up in January, I knew that I had to do something completely different with my life, and something I'd always wanted to do was become more involved in that scene and get to know more people, be braver, I suppose, and go out again on my own. It started out as going on my own. So it was a bit of a slow journey last year, because obviously after such a long marriage, it was very difficult. But probably around May time, so about 4 months later, I honestly just thought, I need to go out now. I need to get my life back.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, which is actually my tagline. It was just the right thing for me. And as soon as I went back to CAMS, which is the first thing I did, I knew then it was going to be the beginning of something completely different. I wasn't ready for another relationship. I'm still not. It's not something I'm interested in whatsoever. So, yeah, it felt like the right thing to do, I guess.
I mean, that's quite such an achievement, I think. I don't think I would have. I mean, luckily for me, myself and Mr. Renner, we've gone through this journey together. Neither of us were ever in the lifestyle or the hobby, as we call it, and it's something that we've explored together. And
do you think you quelled it, Mrs. N, in your previous relationship, or do you think you just were completely naive to it?
I don't think it was so much that I quelled it. I think the person I was with, without them knowing,
extinguished your fire.
Yeah, pretty much is probably the best way to say it. I was quite late in losing my virginity, and some people who've read the book will know that. So I was 18, and when I discovered sex, it was like, whoa, this is fun. And it was all kind of, very new and exciting. And, you'd have sex in the car, and you'd have sex outside, and you'd do all different things. And then when that relationship broke down, and I then met who ended up to be my first husband, that was very, very vanilla. Mm-hmm. And so, that just got quashed quite quickly.
It's quite interesting how many people you meet in this hobby. He said lifestyle then.
You're forgiven. Yeah. You're forgiven.
Where people do have almost like a second burst.
The thing is, I suppose, and I know we've had somebody else on the podcast who said the same thing. In fact, I think it was when we spoke to Crimson Rose. She said the same thing, because she went from being in a relationship that was very vanilla, having been in the hobby for a while, and completely, quashed it. And we said to her at the time, did you feel you were missing out on something because you weren't being you? There was part of you that wasn't in that relationship. And she said, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I've never, ever been able to let go completely sexually during my marriage. I know it was, however good it was sometimes, it was not entirely what I wanted. I can never pinpoint why. It was never enough for me. But I knew it wasn't in any which way.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't. I knew I always wanted more. I mean, I'm a Taurus, so I always want more. But yeah, and obviously I had no idea where it was going to go. No idea at all. In fact, I just thought I might end up going to CAMS a few times and that would be it.
Did it feel a little bit exciting though, even though obviously I know your marriage had broken down and you thought, no, I need to get back out there? Was there a part of you that was a little bit, okay, so this could be exciting to see where this is going to go? Or was it more intrepidation, thinking I'm not really sure?
The first few times I was incredibly nervous because apart from anything else, I'd only been with a woman for 9 years.
Yeah. So
that was very weird, again, being with a man again. But also lovely in so many ways. But what I loved partly was that no one knew me. So no one knew my background or what I'd been through, or anything that I felt people would judge me on, really, in terms of my personality or my past. So yeah, it was exciting in that I could feel myself.
You could feel liberated.
Yeah,
and just be completely...
My personality was starting to come back out, and my true self was starting to be there again.
We've said the same thing. Obviously, we got outed back in episode 52 a long time ago now. But there is a real excitement and naughtiness and fun to having that alter ego in the lifestyle, and in it, where you can just escape with your sort of your cover stories. We always have a giggle, especially in the changing rooms at Libs, don't we, with other people, and they say,
"Where are you supposed to be this evening?"
Yeah,
What's your
I do that a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of the time it's just a party. I'm just going to a party. So thankfully, I live in a very big shared house full of very young people, so they're completely open to everything I do.
Oh, okay. So they know.
They all know.
Okay.
Yeah, they all know, and they all love my stories very, very much.
I can imagine that they do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I bet they live their life through your
They do.
adventures.
They do. I know. I'm supposed to be the responsible one, being nearly 20 years older than some of them. But no, I've shown them a bit of a different way of life. So yeah.
Did you only ever do clubs at that stage when you went to CAMS, or did you ever sort of do private meets, or was it always just the clubs?
It was a bit of both. I think part of me last year felt almost like I should go straight back into a relationship. So I put myself on dating sites, but I just knew I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't. In fact, I found it not only hard work, but it just made me feel very unsure of what I wanted and almost uncomfortable.
Did you feel judged again because we always say, don't we, that the swinging community is so non-judgmental, and then to step out of that to go back into dating websites, just normal dating websites. I hate the word normal, but vanilla,
yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't getting absolutely anything from them at all. It wasn't fulfilling me in any which way, largely because, I was just coming to terms with everything that's happened. So I started at CAMS probably only for a few months, and then I ended up on a very, very small dating site, which is a bit alternative. And I remember vividly on a Saturday night, I was talking to this guy, and I've been on the scene for a long time. I've never ever heard of Fab, ever. No, I've just never heard of it.
You were like, I know. How do you miss Fab Swingers?
Yeah, I'm so annoyed that I didn't know about it before, but this guy just mentioned it, and I remember thinking I couldn't get off the phone quick enough. I just wanted to get on it, and I joined that night. And obviously, as a single female, it just spiraled.
Gold membership.
Wow.
Out of control.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a gamble now and say, I reckon you probably had about, I don't know, 50 messages in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah. Within a week, it had gone, I think it was over 800.
Wow.
And that kind of gives our listeners an idea that for the ladies out there, you do get literally bombarded.
Yeah, you do.
How do you deal with it?
At first, I didn't know actually how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. And I think the thing with Fab that was probably a bit different for me is I put photos on, full face photos.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the bravest lady.
So, yeah, I just went all out straight away. I just felt like that's something I wanted to do. And so, that probably did bring in a few more messages maybe than how I deal with it. My profile is now quite stroppy. So it is.
I love that.
I don't believe that.
No, it is. I kind of lay down the rules a bit in it. But also, I have no trouble in not replying or blocking or deleting. I feel like I have to be quite strong-willed around that and really really make sure I'm protecting myself.
Yeah, I understand
that is interesting, because there are a lot of ladies out there, especially single ladies, that struggle with it. They don't want to come across as, I don't want to be mean or upset anybody. But you do have to get a little bit of armour.
Yeah,
especially with Fab, don't you?
You do. Yeah, I've really had to kind of crack down on exactly what I want, exactly what I don't, and just choose very carefully who I do and don't want in my life. And, sometimes I'd love to say no thank you to everyone, but I just can't physically do that with all those messages.
Yeah.
I can't. My profile's changed a bit, I think, over the year. It's become... I put more photos on, definitely, as I kind of got more confident. But I'm happy with where it is now. But yeah, I manage it well, so I could just keep it under control, I guess, for me. So, yeah, I like it. I like my profile, actually.
Opposite to us, so you did the whole club scene before you did the online thing.
Yep, so I started with the club scene, then online. I've never been to any private house parties. It's one thing I haven't done.
Okay.
It's just something I haven't done. But I've tried the 3 clubs local to me now. Yeah, and then the people I've met on Fab have just become a part of my life outside of the clubs anyway. So
that seems to be like a reoccurring theme, doesn't it? Everybody joins for the naughtiness, but then all of a sudden you find this friendship and companionship with people. Mm-hmm. And it's such with us, I don't know if it was the same for you. Was it like a more open friendship? Like you could just tell people anything, share anything?
Certainly for some of the men I've met. I will say I haven't met many women on there, but I have met more women in the clubs or spoken to more women in the clubs. But yeah, I mean, Fab has brought me some incredible friends. It really, really has. Some incredible people in my life who know maybe more than some of my other lifelong friends, actually, and just are so supportive and kind. And yeah, I mean, the friendships are there. Obviously the sexual relationship is there as well.
It's all a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was looking for, I guess, in that's what I mean about controlling people that message me on Fab. I know that I'm looking for more than sex, but not a relationship of any description. Yeah. So, but I like having good people in my life that make me feel good. So.
Yeah, I think that is one of the problems with the online swinging sites, is that a lot of people that are not or don't understand the lifestyle will go on them and just think it's about sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially guys.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
And I wish those guys would listen to the podcast, because then they get so much further.
I know.
Than just thinking that most single ladies are rude or whatever. For a start, the first thing that they don't appreciate is that, like you said, you've got 800, which is just impossible. And the second thing is that it's not just the single one line, do you want to fuck? Because I
mean, some of the messages I've had have been, I'd love to make them into a book. Just
can you
some
imagine?
Of them are crazy. They are crazy, but it's the pictures that go along with it.
You must share a couple.
Some of the messages.
Yeah, some memorable ones.
My favourite, still to this day, my favourite one ever was, can I watch while my dog licks you?
What? I wish I hadn't asked.
And then also, I spoke about this recently, and that there's a guy who messages me every single morning around the same time, and I've never once replied to him, not once, but he still does it, and he still says the same thing every day. And now I'm thinking, I can't reply to you because I've kind of kept up this facade, but if you don't message me, then I get worried.
Yeah.
I need to know you're okay. So it's such a strange sight, isn't it?
I used to have a gentleman, I don't think he does it anymore, he literally used to send me a joke every morning.
Yeah.
He seems to have gone quiet.
He ran out of jokes.
Yeah, possibly. But that was always quite sweet that somebody took the time to...
I nicked a couple of them.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, oh God, some of the messages are just ridiculous, and some of the pictures are way beyond, it just doesn't entice me whatsoever.
No, I know. So
I'm not interested in them.
You just think, we've heard from other, especially single ladies, that have shared the messages, and you just think, what was going through your mind to send that? It's just crazy.
Yeah, they are. And then some of them are rude if you don't reply. Some of them really can't take rejection, They can't.
Yeah.
Because they're not used to it, or they think they're above that. But it's not always about rejection. It's just simply about not being able to do that. But yeah, I've had some really rude ones as well. Yeah.
It is.
Definitely.
I mean, we make light of it, but it is a serious thing. But
of course it is.
I think it is something that if you go online and on these sort of sites like Fab Swingers, Swing Hub, I think it's something that if you're prepared to accept it's going to happen, you're going to get it. And that's what the block button's for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Use the filters, use the block button. It's a good tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, before we went on air, Gemma and I were having a bit of a conversation.
Okay.
And you might not know this, Mr. N, but Gemma has actually had a heart transplant.
I did not know.
I did.
Okay.
Yep, so 3 years ago, obviously after COVID, but still in the midst of it, I became incredibly poorly. I'd had heart problems anyway for years, but manageable. And then I had a stroke. And then there'd been some talk about transplant, but not to this severity. And then I got rushed through assessment, all at the QE in Birmingham, who clearly saved my life. They've been wonderful. And then in March 2021 I got told basically had a year to live without a new heart. And then had to wait for a bed. And then once I was admitted, though, I was incredibly lucky. I mean, super lucky. I only waited 6 days for a heart, which is almost unheard of.
I was going to say that's...
which is just no time at all. And I still am, overjoyed.
Absolutely.
That I'm alive.
I can imagine that gives you a different outlook on life.
Yeah, I mean, I changed almost immediately. I can assure you, once you've been anywhere near death, that everything changes. Everything. The way you feel about things, the way you feel about people, what you want in your life, how kind you are, and also what you appreciate. So, yeah, my whole personality changed, and I'm just forever grateful. Yeah.
That's very inspiring.
Massively inspiring, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it just goes to show as well, I think sometimes we look at ourselves and we judge ourselves so harshly on our looks and on our on other people as well. So we judge ourselves against other people and think, well, I know people that we've spoken to, Mrs. N, where they've said, oh no, we can't go to a club because we don't think we look good enough, or they don't fit the demographic. And it's like that's what we've tried to do with V2V, and just say that everybody's welcome.
Yeah, which is something I love. I love about the clubs. So I just like to if you don't know me, then I've got quite severe alopecia. It's something I don't hide on Fab or in anywhere else in clubs. It's just not something I want to do. I actually feel worse when I do cover up. So, obviously I rock up at these clubs with my hair the way it is and covered in scars from many, many operations. But I feel like I never get judged, ever. It's probably one of the only places where I can be free without being stared at or criticised or abused, like in the street, all of the things, day-to-day life that people are. But I just think, I'm bigger than that. I'm more than those things on my body. And I feel that I'm so proud of my body for all it's been through anyway. I don't want to hide any of it. You know, I love my scar that's right down my chest. And I kind of feel like almost proud to look the way I am.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like probably now I feel more confident and more beautiful than I ever have.
And I mean, there has been models and things in the past, like Gail Porter, who I think was such a good advocate for alopecia. I think she was wonderful. She didn't wear her wig. I think she did wear a wig in the beginning, didn't she? And then she cast it off.
I've just never considered one. I don't want to. I know my family have kind of spoke about one, but I think that's more about protecting me than them wanting me actually to wear one. You know, I know that my family are also very proud of me and my friends. And I know that after a while, people don't even notice it. You know, so...
You just become you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you mind me asking how long you've had alopecia?
About 20 years. And it kind of came from nowhere. I knew it was going to happen, I think, because I've got polycystic ovary syndrome, which is hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the time, I never wanted it to happen because I was much younger and, you know, 25, 26, it's just not what you want, but...
That's an incredibly impressionable age.
Yes. Yeah, very. Yeah. Very young.
You're still not... I don't think at 25, I was still learning about myself.
Yeah.
And so to be hit with something like that, that can then be pushed as part of your identity then, can't it?
Definitely. And when you first meet me, I think a lot of people, obviously you do notice it straight away because of how it is, but it's part of the reason why I am a little bit larger than life. I suppose it's not to make up for it, but it's just to show people that it doesn't matter that I've lost some hair. It doesn't change my personality or my ability to be, you know, a good person, a good friend.
Sassy.
Yeah, sassy. A lot of people describe me as sassy.
I'm
not sure I'm sassy.
I think that's a great description of you, definitely.
Yeah, that gets used a lot.
I think that's fabulous.
Fiery's the other one.
I identify with that so much. I will make an admission now that I probably wouldn't have done, but I think you've inspired me. So I had cancer when I was 11. So I did 12 months chemotherapy. And I said before, just before the microphones went on, and we were just talking briefly, that I never cried when they told me I got 50-50 chance or whatever it was back then. I never cried when they told me I got 12 months chemo, but I cried when they told me I would lose my hair with the treatment. And so I identify with you so much. Mine was sort of finishing chemo, and then I was going into my teenage years. So I felt like I lost a lot of my teenage years.
Yeah, you will do, because it is about identity.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. It's,
and so...
Yeah.
I can't imagine how, in your mid-20s, how it just, like you said, it becomes part of you. And I think sometimes, if you're not careful, you can lose who you are.
You can. I mean, I could have got very wrapped up in it and I could have hidden away. But I think that, you know, whether this is true or not, it's never, ever stopped me from being able to attract people. Ever. And that's not being cocky at all. It's just the way I am, I suppose. I think because I show people that I'm not that bothered about it, people then are not bothered about it.
Yeah.
And we've always said that the most sexy thing in a club...
You literally was just about what I was thinking.
Say it, Mrs. N.
Confidence is so super sexy.
It is. And... that's definitely happened more for me the last 6 months, more than ever. Like, you know, I've just said, I feel more confident than ever. You know, some of the sex I've had has been outstanding, and it has.
Gold star for you.
Not from my end.
That's what I mean, for the partners. Afterwards, after you finish, little gold star.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been so wonderful to be with so many people that have made me feel that way, and made me feel that I'm still attractive and that they want me no matter what. And it's not always about sex, it's about me as a person. If it's, I mean, lots of men I know just want sex, but I am quite picky.
Aren't we all, darling?
Yes, darling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's be honest, in a club, there are a lot of females.
Yeah, a lot.
So the fact, like you've said, they are choosing you.
It's not only that either, and this is something that I've kind of always put out there. A lot of people in either vanilla world or muggle world, as we call it, you couldn't possibly expect them to understand being in the lifestyle. I think most of them will think, well, it's just a license for you to just go off and shag whoever, whenever. And what people don't realise is it's more than that. It isn't just about sex. It's about the person. It's the personality. It's how they make you feel.
The
friendship, everything. It's so much more deeper than just a quick shag.
It is a weird thing to have sex with your friends.
It is. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But then you have vanilla friends that you can't imagine having sex with.
No.
We've never really talked about that ever.
No, we haven't, have we?
For anybody that's out there that is not in the naughty hobby, I can tell you now, and I think I speak for the majority of swingers, I hate that word.
I do too.
We don't ever think about having sex with...
No, they all think we want to have sex with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do. But I don't.
No.
Some of them do.
Yeah. Some of them you think...
Certainly, yes. Certainly some of them.
I wouldn't kick you out of bed, love, if I got the opportunity, but,
But, yeah, I mean, so I'm a nurse. And so, yeah, the nurses are, beside themselves, probably even more than my housemates. But a lot of them are a bit older and a bit, don't quite understand it. And worry that basically want to have sex with them all. But, some nurses are incredibly beautiful. But I think you have to describe it well to friends and family. That, it's not about just having sex. I mean, for me, it's opened up friendships I could have only dreamt of. I was so lonely last year. So lonely those first few months. And it's weird that actually the swinging life has saved my life.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah, it has though. It really has. It's enabled me to be everything I've wanted to be. Definitely.
I think the way you've described it is absolutely beautiful. And again, in my darkest moments in the last few years, I can think straight away when I lost my dad. Losing a parent obviously is one of the most traumatic things you can go through in life, and the love that was just poured out to me. We'd got a Vanilla to Vixen party, probably I can't remember now. A couple of weeks after it happened, and it wasn't particularly expected, was it? My father wasn't in the best of health, but he wasn't particularly expected, so I had no idea how I was going to get through this party. And I put it out there to a couple of close people that what had happened, and the love when I walked into the room. And here I was planning, I've just got to put a mask on and be Mr. N and just get through it. And I didn't have to do that at all, because when I got there, people just flung their arms around me, and it was so genuine, and it was such just an outpouring of love. It was really emotional and overpowering.
Yeah. I don't think you'll actually find more genuine people. I've met obviously hundreds of people, thousands in my career, and the people that are at swingers clubs and the people involved in that lifestyle are so open about themselves anyway. As we know, part of that scene is you can be whoever you are. You can, no matter what size you are, what race you are, what sexuality you are, you're welcome. And I think that you will always receive the biggest amount of love and support. I've had so much support from so many people, and I love that side of it. I love the community side of it. I really do.
I think it's one of the most genuinely accepting, in as much as in today's society we often get obsessed I think, with labels. You know, are you bisexual? Are you homosexual? Are you whatever? And I think the swinging community really does just blend that in some unimaginable way.
It does.
You know, you can be at the bar or something and say, I'm not sure if I'm bi or fully bi, or, you know, I've played a few times. And it doesn't matter. No one cares. No one labels people.
No, and we shouldn't be labelled, you know, at all. I mean, you know, obviously, if I had to label myself, I would be bisexual, but it doesn't mean that that's equal in any which way. It just means I am attracted to both, and, you know, and I love sex with both men and women. And they bring me different things completely. But what I love about it is that people feel more free to explore that side if they want to. And quite often they do want to. And they feel safe to do that.
And to create that environment is really quite special.
Yeah.
And I think it's a naturally created environment. It's not something where people have specific... I know we have special parties like the Amazing Libertines at Liberty Elite, and we have Curiosity now.
Yes.
With a K, Curiosity with a K. And there are special parties, but I think it's just such a naturally organic way where people can just go and no one cares.
It is. I mean, so I've only really just been introduced to Liberty. I've just, for whatever reason, never come across your way, but I think it's brought me a whole new range of people again, you know, friends already, just in a couple of events. And I think just the variety of people you meet as well. And I feel completely comfortable going
That's
there,
nice
you
to
know,
hear.
and talking. And I look forward to meeting more people along the way and finding out more about them and about the lifestyle, just having them in my life.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And then you also bump into these mad people that accost you in the middle of a...
Yeah, to do 2 weeks later to do it.
There you are, minding your own business in the locker room. And it's like,
That'll be Mrs. N's grooming. She's known for, unfortunately.
No, I mean, again, you know, this is something I would never dreamt of doing. And
really?
Yeah, might be some people's, you know...
You see, this is why we love doing what we're doing, because we get to meet the most amazing people.
Thank you.
And you are incredible.
Thank you. That's very, very kind, but maybe not true.
No, it is true, my darling. It is. And we were fascinated from the moment we met you. And you literally just opened your heart to us, so to speak, within a few seconds of us being introduced. And we were like, yes, come on the podcast, we need to talk about it. Because it's people like you that inspire other people that are having tough times sometimes with, you know, maybe they have health issues that they feel not very confident about. And
yeah, I mean, no matter how amazing the lifestyle is, you know, obviously real life happens outside, and we all know the awful things that can happen that can change your life in seconds. But, you know, for me, I think it is important that I speak about it. I think it's important that people know how amazing it is, but also I'm not shy about it at all.
I think it's wonderful because there's so many people that kind of venture into this lifestyle that don't quite have the nerve or have the courage, which is fine. You know, for them to just go to the club, enjoy themselves and go home again, that's absolutely fine. But I think it's amazing that people like yourself that do have that courage, do have that nerve to come on podcasts and speak to crazy people like us. Because it lets the others know, other people know, other people that don't even have the courage yet to go to a club or to go on Fab Swingers, to let people know what it's really like and what it's really about.
yeah,
Absolutely. I think it's so hard to sum up what swinging's about, but I just think it's so much more than people think it is, or so much more than it's portrayed on television as well. And
this is only about Mrs. N's about on the soapbox.
I was going to say,
Please do.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I mean, this was the whole reason for us doing the podcast in the first place, because I was so fed up with watching what was portrayed in the media, you know, and experiencing the lifestyle and what, you know, the richness that comes with it, because there is a richness there in whatever way, whether it's friendships, whether it's, you know, sexual experiences, whatever.
It's not helped with programs like Open House, where they literally just film the beautiful people.
Yeah.
Everyone's a size 6, size 8. And for me, it's just sensationalism. That's all it is.
It isn't real. The things that happen there are not real. That's not how it happens.
No.
There's a lot more goes into it than somebody just saying, okay, well, I want you to go off and meet somebody tonight, and you go off and meet somebody tonight.
It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I go to the clubs largely for the community as much as the sex. You know, obviously the sex is wonderful, but it's so much more than that. It's about, like you said, you know, friendships, support, people you just never would have dreamed of meeting in your life that you now can't live without.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, personally, I've always been quite open, so the only reason I go is for the hot tub and the buffet.
Yeah, well, I'm not far off myself. Definitely the hot tub.
Yeah.
We all know that's bullshit.
I don't know what you mean.
I always start in the hot tub.
Exactly, yeah.
So, obviously you've been in the naughty hobby for a little while. Do you have a bucket list of things that you want to try?
Oh, good question,
nice
Mr. N.
question. Oh, honestly...
Absolutely,
I mean,
honestly.
if I'm being completely honest, then I suppose what I really wanted through all of this was to explore a kind of the more dominant, submissive side.
Okay.
So,
which side do you see? Here we go.
I could take a punt on that one.
I mean, I'd love to be a bit of both. Whether I can or not, it depends, you know, on who I'm with. I've done most things now.
Okay.
I've loved some things so much, so much. I do want to explore a bit more of BDSM, I guess.
Yeah.
Is my
Both
next
sides?
step. Both sides. Yeah, both sides. I think it's in me.
Yeah.
It's how brave I can be.
Okay.
I mean, I love being dominated. You know,
Really?
also, yeah.
Really? No, I wouldn't have
totally.
said that.
No, a lot
I
of
think
people
because of how confident you
Yeah,
are.
a lot of people won't.
That, it surprises me, but wow.
But isn't that always true, though? We always say that, especially if you have to be responsible in a job or something, to just then cast all that off and just be submissive in creating the scene or whatever.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful thing. That was what I got out of it when I tried it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've openly said to Mr. N, you know, sex-wise, I like Mr. N to dominate me in the bedroom. But if I'm playing with another man, I prefer to be more dominant with them.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I mean, it is something I'm never quite sure of, though. You know, every time I've tried to be dominant, I just can't, because I just want him to do that. you
Yeah.
know. And he's so, this guy I see,
Yeah.
he's so good at it that, you know, I kind of lose myself and I can't help it because he's so attractive and he's just fulfills that part of me.
Yeah.
So...
You just melt.
Yeah. I just let him do what he wants to do.
Here's a question, and I don't think I've ever asked this from a woman's perspective.
Okay.
So we've got friends in the naughty hobby, and actually I had a conversation with one of them literally 2 days ago about this, where they were saying, depending on who they are having sex with, depends on how they behave. I think for somebody to be able to do that, to be able to, you know, you might have only just met somebody.
Yeah.
But to be able to read somebody and think, okay, maybe I'm not as dominant this time, or maybe I'm something else.
Yeah.
To be able to respond to somebody's actions and things from a woman's perspective.
I mean, it is, you know, from a woman's perspective, the only thing I would say is you have to trust someone. You know, that's how I respond. As soon as I trust them,
Yeah.
you know, I respond completely differently, and I let go a lot more. So I remember kind of really I've never really tried anything where I'd let anyone dominate me whatsoever. And I remember sleeping with this guy who I still see now. I just fell for it there and then. And I knew then that was something that really turned me on, that I really wanted. And whatever part of my past that taps into, I don't know. But yeah, I think the more obviously you get to know someone, the more you know what they do and don't like.
Yeah.
You can read each other and you can be much more open about what you want, I suppose.
I mean, there are guys out there, and I'm not having a go at it, that's the way that they are, but there are some guys out there that are almost a bit like a one-trick pony.
Oh, totally.
And
totally.
It's all about, banging away, done, off you go.
Yeah.
Whereas some people love that, and that is their thing, which is absolutely fine. For me personally, it's all about, I like a lot of sensation play. So I like the touching, I like the kissing, I like to feel sensual.
Yeah.
It's not about...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love the build-up. I love the chemistry. I love the sexual tension, like if we go out for dinner or even in the car. What I really love is when men are completely unpredictable. When you think they are maybe going to be, over and done with.
Yeah.
And actually they're not at all. And they really, really do read you. So, but yeah, definitely as a woman, trusting anyone, it is a big thing.
Yeah.
It is, no matter what, whether it be in a club or online or in person. That's why I think you have to be a little bit confident and a bit kind of bolshy about it all.
I think you definitely have to, and it's something I've had to learn over the years, is to be confident enough just to say, actually, do you know what, I don't quite like that. Which Mr. N always used to say to me, just tell them. If you don't like it, just tell them.
Yeah.
But I did find it really difficult
them.
in the beginning.
You do. But also to say no.
Yes.
Especially in clubs.
Yeah.
I've really now learned to say no, thank you. I'm always polite. But,
yeah.
A polite no thank you never offended anybody.
No.
I think shouldn't. Definitely,
because, in a club, obviously, there are... Often the way it goes, there are a lot of single men. And... as a single woman or even a woman, with a partner, that can become overbearing.
Yeah.
So...
See, libs, they limit them.
They do.
So it's a bit
they
different.
do very much. Yeah.
So,
whereas an open club, they're...
Yeah.
Yes.
It is... that was the first time when we were... Obviously, Liberty Elite was our first club. And that was a big, steep learning curve when we went to another club.
Oh, it was, yes.
And all of a sudden, we're like, whoa... Where are all these guys coming from?
Yeah. Clubs are so different, aren't they?
Yes.
Really different. Well, the three I've been to.
Yeah.
Different.
They are all different. And I think there's such a difference from going on traditionally, obviously, a Friday night is single gents night.
Yeah.
And then going on to a Saturday. There's such a difference.
There is, massively. We normally go on a bi night, so we go Monday night. Yeah. Which I think is very relaxed and more... You can understand more what people want, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I do love the event nights as well.
That's cool.
Definitely.
So most of us have had disasters at one point or another.
Oh, God.
I think ours are very well documented on here.
Several thousand
times where you just think, I really need to learn from that. Have you had any complete disasters, or have you been lucky enough not to?
I must have been lucky, I think. I've maybe avoided some. I don't think I've had anything where I've thought, oh God, I can never do that again, or that was terrible.
That just goes to show it is avoidable.
Absolutely.
And it's only yours that made it.
Yeah. And we were incredibly naive.
Yes.
And it was very early on, wasn't it?
We hadn't got a podcast to listen to.
No, we hadn't.
Yeah, I think when you're new to the scene, it's a lot about learning and watching. And yeah, I have been very lucky, but I've keep myself more safe at clubs, I would say.
Yeah.
Keep myself away from, anything that might be a disaster. So, yeah, I've been very lucky.
I think you said as well, the key word, just be brave enough to say no thank you.
Yeah. It's interesting, actually, because I know, obviously, it was V2V last week, and we do get a lot of newbies. It's potentially it's more geared to the newbie nights, isn't it?
Yeah, and for people that like interacting with newbies.
Absolutely. And we have an amazing crew that help us out at V2V.
Yes.
And we had a bit of a debrief on Sunday over breakfast, like we do, just say, how did the night go? Can we improve anything? Is there anything we need to change? All that kind of thing.
What happened? I collapsed.
I didn't know because I collapsed, and thank you very much. But even you said, didn't you, that because I was like, I'm so sorry I left you on your own. But Mr. N was just like, yeah, but it didn't matter because the crew were just
They just
took over and stepped in, and that's how amazing they are.
Yeah, if you've got a good crew, that they will.
But they were saying there was one of the crew members was saying they were talking to this new couple, and I think what happens is they put so much pressure on themselves when they first go to a club, think that they've got to do something, whereas on our night we're just like, you don't have to do anything.
No, it's very relaxed, isn't it?
Ever so.
Yeah.
If you just want to just sit and watch,
Yeah.
because a lot of people like to people watch, which is great experience.
Yeah, it is.
Or you just want to socialise, or if you don't want to do that, then try something else. There's never any pressure there, and I think that's the thing to remember. Don't put yourself or don't push yourself into something that you think you should be doing, because there's no rules to that.
That's
is
really
there?
good advice, especially if you go into a playroom like Liberty Elites, where it's a big open playroom downstairs. You see, when you sort of first walk through those doors, you initially see. You can see quite what can resemble an orgy on the big bed. So you instantly think, well, I should be doing that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't particularly want to.
It's almost like what is expected of me, kind of thing, rather than actually, do you know what, you're in control.
We know people that have been to the clubs for years and years and years, still don't full swap.
No, not at all.
So you don't have to be doing anything.
No.
I think it's about having few expectations. By far the best nights I've ever had in any club are normally spontaneous, and I go in completely open-minded, no idea what's going to happen, no pressure on myself, and just see how it goes, and trying different things, trying different places, and just enjoying it for what it is as well.
Gemma,
yes,
thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For letting us grab hold of you that night and say, please come on the podcast. And here you are.
Yeah, and you have been one of our most inspirational guests.
Massively.
Ever.
Thank you. That's lovely.
In the club, you had an aura about you. You did. It wasn't just sass.
No, it wasn't. There was a definite aura there.
I saw you literally walk in the door.
Yeah.
And you just had a beautiful aura about you.
Thank you.
And I would like to say, if anybody who's listening who does go to maybe CAMS or Libs, if you get an opportunity to chat to Gemma, you need to chat to her because she is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing so much as well.
That's okay.
Promise me that you'll come back on when you've managed to explore your sub-dom side and tell us all about it.
I will, definitely. No, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk about such a huge part of my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our pleasure, my darling.
Part of it.
That's okay.
Take care. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This week, I am mostly trying to get candy floss out of my pubes.